Hey everyone, happy Monday. Welcome to Porcelain Picks. I'm your host, Andrew Fabian, bringing you Week 7's version of Porcelain Audit. So this is the time of the week when we look back at the weekend and we analyze our picks. What did we get right? What did we get wrong? This is our chance to be accountable to you, our viewers. It's really important to us because we bring you the locks you need as you scroll atop the porcelain throne each week. All right. So we had a big bounce back week in Week 7, going 12-7-1 after a lousy Week 6. This brings our overall record to 62-42-1. So a great bounce back to get the season back on track headed into the back half of the year. So let's jump in to reviewing our picks. So the noon hour, we had the Florida State Seminoles playing host to Syracuse Orange. Florida State was an 18.5-point favorite. We told you to hammer the Seminoles. We were right. Florida State was never in doubt in this game. They just poured it on Syracuse. Lock it, flush it, Florida State. All right, we had a few consecutive losses here thanks to the SEC. So a couple stinkers this week that we'll share in just a minute, but let's take a look at these games. All right, we had Georgia, a heavy favorite. I took them at 31.5, told you to follow me with passion. Vanderbilt looking terrible so far this year, but Georgia made Vanderbilt look better than they are. They ended up winning they had a late touchdown that won the game by 17, but this game was a lot closer than it should have been for where Georgia is ranked. I don't think they deserve this number one ranking. Season's going to play out how it will, but I think it's a little bit of favoritism for back-to-back national championships. Can't really blame the AP voters who don't really watch college football, but Georgia flushed that one down the tube. That was a loss for us. All right, so let's go over to the Bama game. So Bama, again, a 19.5-point favorite over Arkansas. Arkansas's got a great quarterback in KJ Jefferson. He's really had a nice season for the Razorbacks and really a big reason why this team isn't just poor this year. Alabama does not cover the 19.5-point spread. They win by 4 points or 3 points against Arkansas. The over-under also missed. We took the over on 45.5. It hit 45, or 44. So that's a loss. Flush that game down the toilet. Forget about it. Another blunder in the SEC. Let's go to Michigan, all right? So Michigan following through as one of the top-ranked teams in the country. I told you to back the Wolverines at 33.5 points against Indiana. Very sluggish start for the Wolverines, but they do easily win this one, easily cover the spread, lock it, flush it. Michigan minus 33.5, back on track. We also had Eastern Michigan in the Maction. Joey Mack, lock of the week, number 1 at the noon hour. Eastern Michigan minus 7.5. This game was closer than it had to be with that miserable weather up in Michigan over the weekend. Lock it and flush it, though. Joey Mack's on track again. All right, let's go over to Penn State. So James Franklin locks. This guy covers spreads, okay? Penn State, a 41.5-point favorite against lowly UMass. UMass has 4 wins in the last 5 seasons. This one was an easy pick. You knew Penn State was going to get their backup some playing time. You knew those guys were going to try to score. They were going to get those real game reps to be able to play real-time offense. They weren't just going to run the ball into the dirt there. So Penn State minus 41.5. This one hit easily. Lock it. Flush it, Nittany Lions. Thank you from our viewers. All right, Washington, Oregon, the big game of the day with College Game Day. This one was as is advertised. Washington ends up coming away with a 3-point victory on that minus 3 spread. So a push there, unfortunately, with Oregon scoring a little bit late. We did take the over in this game, so that was the good pick here, 65.5 with 2 great quarterbacks. They did deliver. Bo Nix had a solid game for Oregon. Michael Penix Jr. for Washington. And again, this was a 3-point spread, so basically a coin flip at Washington. So if this game's in Oregon, who knows? Ducks may have been victorious. But Washington minus 3 was a push, but the over 65.5. Lock it. Flush it. Let's get jumping back to the Big 12. All right, Oklahoma State and Kansas. I told you to take the under in this game with Jalen Daniels hurt. He played actually a couple plays in this game, but he was injured. The over hit. This was way off. The over hit easily. 55.5 was a big bust, so I apologize for that. Let's go back to Joey Mack. The Maction lock of the week. Number 2 was Central Michigan. Playing host to Akron. Central Michigan was a 10-point favorite. They only win by 7. Not any more to say about that. It was an ugly game. They controlled the play. They turned the ball over again. I think Joey Mack said he's no longer going to take the Chippewas. So this game was a loss. That's okay. We'll move on. We've got many more Maction picks of the week coming up. All right, let's jump to the terrible division, the Big Ten West. We had Iowa playing at Wisconsin. Wisconsin was actually a 9.5-point favorite this game. We stayed away from that spread. That's a little hairy. In an Iowa game, you never know what's going to happen. But the only thing you do know for certain is the under is the pick. 35.5 is where we got it. It was well under that. It was never in question. It was a 7-0 halftime lead. The Hawkeyes are looking like they have an inside track of the Big Ten championship and an 11-1 season. They'll probably be 30-point dogs in the Big Ten ship, but we'll see it when we get there. We'll pick against them when we get there, but for now, lock it, flush it, Iowa, Wisconsin under with ease. LSU, a little bit more of an entertaining game here. So we had the Tigers minus 10.5. Hosting Auburn, the Auburn Tigers. So we had the minus 10.5. LSU just throwing the ball all over the place. This team is really fun to watch. Jaden Daniels, a great quarterback. Neighbors, the great receiver. This connection was running wild all night. So that was an easy pick. LSU minus 10.5. Lock it. Flush it. The over, we also had at 60.5. We like the overs with LSU. They're 7-0 this season in games with the over. So take LSU over. We took them. We locked it and flushed it. All right. So we got a couple more games to cover. We've got the UNC versus playing host to Miami Hurricanes. The question in this game was, how were the Hurricanes going to bounce back after that awful play calling at the end of last game? Mario Cristobal taking the knee at the end or not taking the knee at the end that he should have. Miami goes on to lose. They go on to lose in a big way against North Carolina. We had North Carolina -3 in this game, so you can lock that one, flush that one, cash that check. We also took the over 56.5. That one hit easily. Drake May is the real deal at quarterback. He's not being talked about enough for this undefeated UNC team. They're not getting a lot of respect. Let's see how the season plays out for them, but they're in a really good spot in the ACC. Tez Walker, got to keep your eyes on, wide receiver for UNC. This kid was a transfer out of Kent State, and he's a really strong player who's healthy now. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with back half of the year. All right, let's go back to the SEC. So we had Kentucky traveling to Missouri. Or playing at home with Missouri, rather, coming off that terrible beatdown at the hands of the Georgia Bulldogs. Missouri was a 2.5-point dog in this game. I told you to take Missouri straight up. This one was an easy hit. So Missouri came out playing. These guys, Brady Cook, the quarterback from Mizzou, this kid's a baller. He's a really good athlete. I'm looking at the Missouri game for this upcoming week and excited to take the Tigers again. But take that +2.5. You could lock it and flush it. All right, another big game. We had USC traveling to Notre Dame to face the Irish, coming off of the defeat. They dropped 2 out of their last 3 with some of these ranked matchups, this difficult schedule Notre Dame has. USC, Caleb Williams has really been pulling this team along. They get some close victories week after week against lesser teams than Notre Dame. I told you Notre Dame was going to come back home. It was going to recharge them. They were going to look at this as a bounce-back game against the USC team that I think was a little bit overrated. I think people knew that, though. They knew Caleb Williams was really the entire team here. And Notre Dame just flat-out crushed them. Easy victory for the Irish. The analysts were all over USC in this game if you watched any of the pregame, but Notre Dame -3. That's what I told you to take. Hopefully you followed lead, and we locked that and flushed that. However, I did say that the under was going to hit. It was set at 60.5. This one was looking like a sure thing for most of the game until a couple crazy things happened at the end. We got 17 points late. The over hit, so we were wrong 1 for 1 on that game. Let's go to the night game. So the last game of the night, we had UCLA traveling to Oregon State. I told you the under was going to hit on this game. I was wrong about that. Oregon State, we were leaning that direction with Dante Moore on UCLA having a tough freshman year. So Oregon State looks like a really strong team. This total went over, so we were wrong on this. All right. So again, a 12-7 and 1 week. Bounce back week after that first losing week of the year. So we'll take it. We pledge to do better next week. We learn from our mistakes. We analyze our defeats. We analyze our wins. And we pick the locks that you need as you scroll atop the porcelain throne. All right, before we sign off, I want you to subscribe. All right, follow us on YouTube. I'm going to be posting the next picks video on Friday this week. Follow us. Win some money with us. But before we log off, stinker of the week. All right, so if you follow us on our Twitter handle at Porcelain Picks, at the Porcelain Picks, Joey Real posted this a little bit ago, but we had that Notre Dame fan who stormed onto the field. He ran up to Caleb Williams. This kid's lucky he didn't get dropped. If you haven't seen this yet, just watch it. Just have some class, Notre Dame. You blew them out. You're not going anywhere this year, but you have a solid team. No need for that. So that fan is the stinker of the week. We also have the SEC. The SEC just did not show up when it came to the Goliaths, or the perennial Goliaths, with Alabama and Georgia. Both big favorites, both not having strong outputs. SEC will be lucky if they get one team in the first college football ratings in the top 5. So keep your eyes on that. Keep your eyes on Porcelain Picks. We'll keep picking locks for you. Until Friday, happy college football. Have a great week.